with age population will find more cancer, so we need to treat more. So it's extremely important, and it's kind of what I said this morning, the ongoing pandemic in the world. And as you see here, I'm talking under the supervision of Dr. Ajay Kumar and all the doctors here. You see that it depends on the mix of cancer. Some cancers has achieved a lot of cancer treatment improved survival rate drastically. I mean, we could talk about the prostate, the breast cancers, and so on. So here, as we go forward with precision radiation medicine and other techniques, we'll have to improve the efficiency, the operational efficiency, how we can do more with less, how we can be more precise and productivity. There are some other cancers where new technique, like precision radiation medicine, will as well move them from low survival rate to high survival rate, talking about the bottom one, the pancreas and the liver. And here, the advances in technology and treatment and protocols will improve the clinical outcome. So two focus: one for the high survival rate, improving the efficiency, operation efficiency, and the bottom one to improve the clinical outcome. So why as well is important for us in emerging market here? You see the big disparity in access to radiation therapy across the world. You have developed countries, talking USA, with a lot of installed base, so the size of the circle here of the bulb is how many linear accelerator they have in the country, so it's big. So they have like 12 linear accelerator for 1 million inhabitants, and they have very well developed human capitals, expertise in the linear accelerator and infrastructure of the healthcare overall. You see some other countries where there is less than 4 linear accelerator per million inhabitants, and even if they have developed human capital like in India. And we see some other countries where really they need to develop the environment of healthcare, the human capital, and as well to have more access to linear accelerators. So overall, those who are developed needs to as well go more efficient in the clinical and maybe to get closer to the population, the linear accelerator. Other, they have to develop the infrastructure. So in nutshell, what we need to maybe remember for numbers here, 50% of the cancer needs linear accelerator. And as we said this morning, very cost-effective techniques. However, 95% of the linear accelerator are concentrated in less than 10% of the population, meaning that developed markets or countries have the majority of the linear accelerators. So we see the rest of the world where they need access, so they're lacking this. So therefore, we think that by 2035, we'll need to increase by 76% the number of linear accelerator and make them much more better distributed. So this is, I think, what we can here take away. I don't have the number here, that the world needs more than 15,000 additional linear accelerator to cope with the standard of 4 linear accelerator per million inhabitants. So the need is huge, and the need especially is coming from the emerging markets. So Elekta, just to give you an idea, that we try to cover all Africa, either directly or indirectly, and our main I would say focus is to give access. This is our first pillar of our strategy by 2025, to give access to radiotherapy to more than to additional 300 million inhabitants. This is part of our strategic book. So therefore, innovation is extremely important. And as we said this morning, everybody should benefit from each patient in the world having cancer needs to benefit from the highest technology and the most efficient way. And Elekta across the technology, either external beam, internal beam, neuroradiosurgery, offer these solutions, and especially as well in informatics. Therefore, we have the high definition radiosurgery Versa HD. So this system improved the definition and accuracy, allowing conventional and radiosurgery treatment. It's anatomically guided accuracy, so it's we have the imaging on board on the system, and it gives wing-to-wing treatment for all type of cancer with a high precision as well. So what's important beside the power and the capability of calculation and rotation, with the capability as well of the multi-leaf collimators that orient and shape the beam, is the combination with the high quality treatment planning system that will make that the repartition of the high dose is concentrated precisely on the tumor. And this is what we call the Monaco system, which benefit from the worldwide gold standards in algorithm, which is the Monte Carlo algorithm. So this is combined to the Monaco treatment planning as well, where we put the dose precisely on the tumor and avoid the organs at risk. So this is how you see the repartitions of the dose and the margins created around the tumor in order to decrease the dose repartition on the organs at risk and around. So high accuracy, and more than this, you see with the IntelliBeam, this is takes advantage of the Versa HD capability of modulation of the beam. It's 6 times modulated that shape precisely the beams around the tumor and with the minimum time during the rotation. So it's high density of technology, of precise technology, mechanical, technical, and informatic, with the multi-leaf collimators that create a virtual width of 1 millimeters. So therefore, we go from conventional to advanced treatment with the high definition dynamic radiosurgery, and you see tumors as small as 0.1 cubical centimeters can be targeted, and multiple tumors as well, either in spine, like what's called stereotactic radiosurgery, or brain. This is we're talking today about high-cost cyber knife costing 4 million, 5 million. You can do it with this one. Maybe it's more cost-effective, I would say, methodology. Or we see here some examples on the lung stereotactic body radiotherapy, where we can treat many, I would say, metastasis or many nodules in the lung, or the oligometastasis liver that you see here can be treated precisely on the liver there. So all this is done by the Versa HD. I think there was, I missed one point, which is this is allowed by the robotic. We don't see by the robotic, I would say, Exapod table that you saw today. which is delivered as well to CCK. So the table moves with 1 millimeters accuracy. All the table has 6-dimension freedom. At the same time, the rotation of the arc, which is guided by the Monaco and the beams as well, generation, repetition of the dose, with the multi-leaf collimator shaping the beams around the dose. So high precision radiation therapy. So what's important as well is that our online service, the system will be linked to IntelliMax. So around the world, this system is taken in charge, and we can have a predictive maintenance. We can know which parts could be failing. And have support or remote diagnostic for the engineers here, and sometimes some remote fixes. Why? Because it's very important not to interrupt the cancer treatment when it starts for the patient. So we are all here to deliver hope to the patients having cancer, so they can live with a worry-free, I would say, life. Thank you for your attention. I will stop here, and I have a great pleasure to introduce maybe my the next lecturer, Dr. Ajay Kumar, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah? Good. Maybe I step on.
Thank you, Mr. Habib. That was a very insightful presentation, and I think we should give a big round of applause for Mr. Habib. Our next speaker is what somebody called him a very heavyweight in oncology earlier during the day, and technically he does not require introduction because of the work he has done around the field of oncology. But however, I like to introduce our chairman for Healthcare Global Enterprises Limited, Dr. B.S. Ajay Kumar. Dr. Ajay Kumar not only is an oncologist, but he's also a doctorpreneur, a thought leader, a philanthropist, and obviously the chairman for Healthcare Global, and a very big mentor to us. The best part about Dr. Ajay was he left a very lucrative career in the US to move back to India and realize his vision of developing quality oncology treatment along with a good service network for oncology centers across India. He got this opportunity in 1989 when he acquired the Bharat Institute, the Bharat Hospital and Institute of Oncology at Mysore. Alongside that, he also incepted the Bangalore Institute of Oncology during the same time. Here, he realized his dream of quality oncology care and expanding quality cancer services in India through setting up of Healthcare Global Enterprises Limited. He envisaged this with a hub and a spoke model headed at Bangalore with multiple centers spread across India in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. HCG is a sterling validation of Dr. Ajay's unflinching belief that cancer can be treated only and only one way, the right way, the very first time to help patients achieve longer and better lives. HCG has revolutionized cancer care in India through high-end technologies like CyberKnife and TrueBeam. Besides, it has also advanced in bone marrow transplant therapies and molecular imaging. Today, HCG is at the forefront of molecular diagnostics and is working towards building a genomics practice to pave the way for precision and personalized medicine. While HCG has established 26 comprehensive cancer centers, HCG's infertility treatment unit, which is Milan, is soon anticipated to grow to over 10 centers. Dr. Ajay now is working towards building and strengthening his network of comprehensive cancer centers across the world, beginning with here in Kenya. Dr. Ajay has been conferred with various prestigious awards, primarily starting with the Ernst & Young Startup Entrepreneur of the Year Award, as well as the Asian Healthcare Leadership Awards. Harvard's Business School has done a series of case studies on HCG's unique and focused factory model, which is the hub and spoke model. Besides, many other cases have been picked up. Dr. Ajay Kumar has also given incisive talks at reputed academic and corporate organizations, including the Harvard Business School and the Babson Business School. And I request Dr. Ajay Kumar to come here on stage, and can we please have a big applause for him.
This goes forward?
Yeah, this one.
This one will go forward. Okay. Good evening, and I just want to say thank you for all coming, for all of you, my colleagues. And as doctors, we always look at where certain diseases are advancing, and particularly in the field of cancer, in being in it for 45 years, from 1975 onwards. I would like to start off by making one statement, and I will tell you the rationale behind it. If somebody, maybe my patients or somewhere outside, calls me an expert in cancer, I say certainly not. One cannot be an expert in cancer today. And the reason, one of the main reasons is cancer field, understanding the cancer, the way treatments are changing rapidly, by some estimates every 75 days. It is impossible for one person to really be an expert today. It's not possible for one to understand the genomics, molecular diagnostics, the pathology. There are various terminologies I will try and use today, and understanding what is the right treatment for the patient at that time. So that is where the multidisciplinary clinics come, expertise come, organ specific, and we are talking about genomic specific. One of the things I would like to start off saying is why HCG chose to come in Kenya, before I go to more details, and how it led me to understanding of cancer in a better way. Years ago, when I'd returned from US and started the HCG, I started seeing patients because of our technology, be it PET scan at that time, almost 15 years ago, then having CyberKnife. I saw patients coming from other parts of the world. When I interviewed, the most of the reason was, they were looking at higher centers. Some of the centers, like in India was before, did not have a linear accelerator. We used cobalt therapy. A lot of issues were happening. And people came with advanced disease, recurrent diseases. So one of the decisions we took while we were establishing centers in India was to really look at why should people come from other parts to spend months together, particularly when they are advanced stage, and not even sleep in their own bed. Is that the right thing? So the so-called medical, the medical tourism, medical destination, people come, normally people would love that because, we have so many people coming from abroad. It is maybe a source of income, revenue, all of that. But in reality it is really not right for the particular patient to spend that much time. So what can we do? Let us say we decided, convince the board that we should do a pilot project. Since significant number of patients were coming from this part of the world, from East Africa, and Nairobi being a medical hub, potential medical hub, even then it was a medical hub, we chose to partner with CDC and establish a center here, thanks to Dr. Adam Ali, who is here, who had actually pioneered a cancer center. Being a radiologist, he had pioneered a cancer center with a very future vision. And really, I should thank him today for his vision which made us come here. And what you are seeing today in technology advances is certainly because of his vision and efforts. Having said that, and today we have among us, medical oncologists, other specialties, maybe, ENT doctors, gynecologists, primary doctors, internists. Why is so important to talk to you all about cancer? I'll start with some basics. When you all have patients or maybe relatives, friends with cancer, when somebody says, the doctor told me I have an advanced stage, I have a stage 4, I am supposed to have terminal, people said I go to hospice care. What is the impression you get? My understanding interviewing doctors and all is or the patients, or the families, they are in the last leg of their life. That is the impression we get. And as oncologists, we also use certain terminologies which fortunately other specialists don't use because of the heritage we carry, legacy we carry. For example, we say, palliative care, and you are a stage 4 disease. So we give all this, and one of the doctors recently in our own Bangalore, when a patient went with advanced case, unfortunately this is a reality, told the patient, before the patient came to our advanced clinic, doctor told them, your case is hopeless, I don't have time for you. So this is how oncology has been looked at. Not only that, even the politicians, speakers who are not in oncology say when there is ills of the society, maybe corruption, nepotism, whatever, that is cancer of the society, we say. So we equate cancer to a terminology which means very negative, and survival is not there. But as Habib showed, the reality is different. Majority, 67% of the cancer patients live, and actually majority in advanced countries die of other diseases. But again, in the so-called emerging market, we have been told that, look, you are a poor country, doesn't matter, you can't afford high-end treatment. So, obviously cancer doesn't know rich and poor. But we treat somebody who is poor, who cannot afford a socio-economic country-wise, in a very inferior way. So it not only makes the cancer come back, and also gives rise to a lot of pain and suffering. So when you fast forward, why do we require all this hospice care, terminal care and all? Because essentially the first time we have not treated this cancer properly. We have not spent enough time, understood, and even in the so-called advanced stage, I will say in the next few minutes, if you treat the disease properly, it is possible they can live a quality of life pain-free even there in advanced stage. Let me give you one example of my own patient, because I specialize in advanced and recurrent tumor. When I trained in MD Anderson Hospital, I treat not only radiation oncology but medical oncology in a very experimental field called developmental therapeutics. Patients came from all over the world, most from Latin America, other countries, as a last hope to MD Anderson. And I remember taking to patients, giving them phase 1 drug, very toxic. They said, doctor, you can experiment on body, it doesn't matter. But having seen all that, advanced cases, one of the things always dawned on me is, what about this pain and suffering we talk about cancer? If you treat cancer properly, does it have to be this pain and suffering? So I will give you one example of a patient I saw which came from Delhi to Bangalore. Patient came on a stretcher, completely doped in morphine because she had extensive pain from breast cancer. Pain was mostly localized in the lower back, radiating down to the leg. So when we analyzed with an MRI, PET scan and all, we found a lesion. She had advanced disease all over the bone. She found a lesion which was pressing on the sciatic nerve. And we did radiosurgery for that lesion because we didn't think the patient can be there for weeks together. Radiosurgery is usually given in 1 or 2 fractions or 3. We just did that. The family could not believe what happened in 3 days. They insisted they take the patient home walking because the patient walking with no pain. So all I want to convey is there is reality and there is perception and there is news and there is news which is not right. Today the terminology we use is fake news. Whatever the news was 40 years ago, 50 years ago is not true. Take for example cobalt therapy. Some of you may know that cobalt therapy was manufactured in Canada until recently, and not a single Canadian got the cobalt therapy. When I asked them, I'm very radical, I asked them, why are you not having? Because doctor, it's a very inferior form of treatment, because it treats not only the tumor but normal tissue. We have seen cobalt actually, for example, take CS cervix, CA prostate, which is common here. When you treat that, you also treat bladder, rectum, everything, causing intense pain. So the reason cancer got a bad name is because the treatment itself was causing a lot of pain. Because we were treating normal organs. And today, fast forward, with the type of technology we saw today, when a patient with these diseases are treated, I'm happy to say, not a single patient will have this kind of pain or problems. And in our own system, we audit, we look at it. In our own system, we see 110,000 new patients a year. Entire Kenya sees 44,000. HCG itself sees 110,000, going on to nearly 120,000 now. So we monitor through virtual tumor boards and audits, and all the recurrences are audited, all the mortalities are audited to see what is happening in cancer, understanding of the disease. So here I want to say why cancer is an enigma. I will give you one example and talk about it. It is just like a story. In 1979, in summer in US, which is usually June, July, August, it was in July, a patient came to me, Mr. Heavenil. He came, big farmer. He said, doctor, I was just started my practice there, coming from MD Anderson, started the center from scratch. He said, doctor, I have a lump under arm, please see. And also, by the way, don't forget to see my records. So I looked at him, saw his records. In 1974, Dr. Smith had operated on him, opened his chest, full of disease, took a biopsy, adenocarcinoma, said, Mr. Venil, there is no treatment. Your advanced case, not operable, no other treatment. Please enjoy your last summer. 6 last summers he had enjoyed. 6 last summers. So what is this enigma of cancer? Why did this patient survive? Then let us talk about cervix cancer, prostate cancer. Cervix in women, anatomically where it is located. In men, prostate, almost in a close area anatomically, around the bladder, rectum area. Take for example cervix cancer. It can spread locally in that area, it can spread to lymph nodes. But why is it rarely it goes to bone or lung? Why? Take for example prostate cancer. Same reason in men. Why is it always goes to bone and rarely to other organs? Lymph nodes and bone. What is this enigma? What we call as microenvironment. Take for example head and neck cancer. Rarely it goes below clavicle. Why? And take for example breast cancer. It can go anywhere. It can go to lung, liver, brain. But take a brain tumor. Why does it not come down to other organs of the body? Almost never. And rarely brain tumor is multicentric. Usually it is single tumor. So cancer is an enigma. That is why, my friends, I started this by saying I am not an expert on cancer. Only when you understand all these enigmas, you can become somewhat of an expert. But today, by 15 minutes of prescription, we claim ourselves to be experts. We cannot be. It is a lot more complicated to understand this disease, lot more complicated to do the right thing for the patient. And first time, if you do not do the right treatment, obviously there is greater suffering and greater problems in managing the disease. For example, we all follow NCAN protocols. So let us say we treat a patient, we say 50% chance of response. What happens to other 50% who do not respond? We are giving them unnecessary treatment, but we say that is the protocol. Can we do something which is through proper diagnosis, genomics, other areas, whereby we can identify who are likely to fail and not put them through the protocol? Because when the cancer comes back, we obviously say, oh, it is the biology of tumor. It could be biology, it could be technology lag, or it could be we did not spend enough time to understand this disease and do proper treatment at the proper time. So there are various reasons for not looking at this disease properly. Today, as you will see through some of my slides, cancer has evolved to a different level. We have, for example, I talked about stage 4. When you tell a patient stage 4, you take breast cancer. You say to the patient, you have got breast cancer, there is a lesion in the bone or a single lesion in the lung, stage 4 disease. So the patient and family thinks they are in the last stages. And you have a breast cancer B who has got liver full of disease, brain full of disease, that is also stage 4. Situation A, patient can live for 10 years or longer with single oligometastasis, so properly managed. So the disease has become chronic in the first case. Whereas situation B, patient may live for a year or two. So that is why using terminologies is not that right. Take for example, some of you may be in diabetology, endocrinology, internal medicine. I don't think you call your diabetic patients that I'm giving you palliative care. I don't think you are treating blood pressure saying I'm giving you palliative care or asthma. Why is it in cancer we always use such terminology when we know we can make it into chronic disease and people can live long? Because of the heritage, because of the legacy of cancer in the past. So it is high time in HCG we believe, and it is not just HCG, I would like the entire medical fraternity to educate others so that in future at least we stop using such terminology. We have molecular imaging today. We can say to the patient, here is your cancer of the breast, which has spread to the lymph nodes in the axilla, which has gone to a bone lesion. So this is where it is, this is how we will manage. Why do we have to use the word stage 4? Because those are old language. We have to get out of that. And why do we have to use the word palliative? Why should the cancer patient be a cancer victim, cancer survivors? We don't have diabetic victims. We don't have diabetic survivors. So isn't it time to change the lingo so we use it properly so that the patient family become part of your decision making, so that they are positive. They look into it in a positive way, because we all know positive thinking matters a lot. In our own practices, we have seen advanced disease patients living longer. And today, lung cancer, for example, even in advanced disease, people live 6 to 8 years because of targeted therapies, genomic-driven therapies. Today, in our center, we call our tumor board genomic-driven tumor board, targeted tumor board, AI tumor board. We no longer scale, and organ-specific will be genomic-specific. For example, ovarian cancer and breast cancer could become genomic-specific. So much of commonalities are there. So it is time we introspect. There is no definite answer, but start looking at it. And one of the other things I think we know from emerging markets where we lack is research and academics. I was telling this morning, it is so important for us to gather data. So one of the things we would like to do here in Nairobi and entire Kenya or East Africa is to collect the data. For example, why is prostate cancer more? What is the reason? Why is nasopharynx cancer more? In India, we see less prostate cancers. And here we are seeing even in people in 40s and 50s. What is the reason? What is the story behind the story? What is the genomics? What is it telling us? Can we create a model where we can do a lot more preventive effect? For example, BRCA. We know BRCA positive 60% can get cancer. By lifestyle changes, by low-fat diet, we know it can prevent cancers from coming even in BRCA positive. So why not we do some of this learning and treat even prostate cancer, prevention of prostate cancer program, prevention of nasopharynx. Nasopharynx it's HPV virus and it's highly responsive to immunotherapy. Can we look at this? Why does it respond so well to immunotherapy? I'm just saying these words to show you how complex cancer treatment has become, how we require experts in each field to come to a decision for that patient. That is one take-home message I want to give. It's a complex. So with our tumor board, when we link it with our Nairobi also, and we are requesting the doctors to participate, they can participate in this to get the right answer for the patient. Patients don't have to come all the way to Bangalore or Mumbai. They can get the answer here. If something is not available, they can come. But we can do a lot more things. Today, the information technology is so big, we can. With these few words, I will run you through some slides to just validate some of the points I made and how technology has changed and how HCG, one of the things HCG did was take a leadership role in India to replace cobalt to linear accelerators. In private enterprise, hardly any linear accelerators were there. When we started putting it to tier 2, tier 3 cities, obviously, the finance people, investors were like, we get a better return on investment in cobalt. But I said, but that is not the right treatment for the patient. Are we here to, as doctors, do the right treatment or get a better return? And one of the other models at CG, which has been written by Harvard Business School, is cross-subsidy. We believe we have a cyber knife. If a patient requires subsidized or free treatment at middle of the night, why not treat a kid with brain tumor? Why is it not possible? The equipment is there, air condition is on, and I promise you one thing, we would like to do the same thing here in Nairobi also. No deserving patient should be denied treatment. And whatever way we can, either through crowdfunding or through subsidy or through foundation, we can set up a foundation and do it. I believe it is morally, ethically wrong to deny a treatment because they cannot afford. But affording class have to pay so that cross-subsidy can be done. And this is one of the things we want to certainly do here so that each patient gets the right treatment. This equipment is always there, 24 hours, AC is there, only technologists and physicists we need. Why not open this door at 12 o'clock to treat people or 11 o'clock in the night to treat? Why not? We should do that. That is when we are really committed to being doctors. And another thing I would like to say, people ask me when I left United States, after my HCG model, Harvard Business School, I got calls from various places, Massachusetts, Illinois, other places. Can you come and set up some model here, bring down the cost? I said, no, my model is only for emerging market, not for advanced countries. You have your own model. I felt where it is needed is where I should do. So this is how we have come in India in a big way, and we want to really establish this kind of models in a slow but steady way in East Africa also, maybe in other parts of the world. It's not moving. Can we know? No. You can, either you can change or give it to me. Try now. Oh, no, nothing. Oh, okay. So this is just to show you the journey for me, how it took me several turning points to reach this point where there was obviously like any, there were a lot of issues, government blocks, corruption, and the entire HCG, by the way, has been built without not a single inch of land from the government, subsidy, and not 1 rupee donation or grant from the government. We believed it is best to leave the government alone and do what is the right. And so with that model, it has worked very well, very successful. HCG is a listed company and it is doing extremely well because of the type of model we chose. And this is the journey from 1989 when we first started our first cancer center. and going on to 25 centers today, and largest globally, 110,000 patients to 115,000 patients, new patients per year. And again, we always think, causes of cancer, what are the possible, but I want to leave one message here. Obesity is the number one cause of cancer. Inflammation, obesity. But it is not obesity, it doesn't mean obesity physically. It means that is the particular genomics which are there. Man can be exercising, man can be doing very good, man or woman, and you can reduce the chance, but it is those genes which are suppressed, which when they exhibit, that is when it causes cancer. Chronic inflammation, we know very well, like infection, human papillomavirus, like H. pylori causing cancer. So we have significant incidents how chronic inflammation can cause cancer. The other thing is, when we manage a cancer, we also look at what are the financial implications. We have to look at it to come to anything. Tobacco, for example. In India, HCG has taken the initiative to develop alternate farming for tobacco farmers so that we can cut down. And we have shown actually farmers make more money when they don't grow tobacco. But unfortunately, there are always vested interests. We have requested Government of India to show them data. 40% of the cancers, particularly in lower socioeconomic group, head and neck cancer, lung cancer, can be completely prevented if you ban tobacco and tobacco products. But will they ban it? No, my friends, they will not, because there are too many vested interests. It can be done and it will eliminate cancer, and then maybe we don't have to buy Elekta units. But I'm saying it is an answer to cancer. We can all find some other job. We can go into a hotel business, restaurant business, so many things we can do. But they will not because of these reasons. And one of the other things is we've always told cancer patients when we were all in med school and even beyond that, we are an academic institution. We are a research institution. You are a private hospital. My friends, all of this is out today. If you want to treat cancer patients properly, you have to be all three. Today, I'm very proud to say HCG is deep in research. In fact, starting this year, we'll be spending several $1 million for research only. Academics, we produce one of the largest paper in the world, coming from India. And third, of course, the patient care. All three has to be done. No longer the old jargon that, we are academic, we are researchers, everything has to be done. So when you see a patient, you cannot tell the patient, I'm doing research on you today, but future cancer patients can help. No, I'm doing research on you because you yourself can be helped. That is how we are looking at cancer management today, not in a retrospective way, like what we did in the past. The future, when I always talk about future, the future is not future, the future is here for that particular cancer patient. So that is why we use the term bench to bedside, bedside to bench. And some of the things in cancer is proper staging, proper molecular imaging, as I mentioned, and chemotherapy. We all went through phases when people had side effects from chemotherapy. Lot of issues. In the last 5 years, best of my knowledge, not a single chemotherapy drug has been invented. It is all targeted therapy, genomic-driven therapy. So it is, it first started with CML, when people with chronic myeloid leukemia were not doing good. We all treated that. People used to develop blastic crisis, name it. So one single drug coming, Gleevec, has changed that. And people are living 20, 30 years because it changes it's a targeted treatment, changing, so the future there won't be any leukemic cells. So this is the future, and now it has come of age, and every few years such fantastic new drugs are coming. And I will talk about an immunotherapy concept in few. It is unbelievable how the scenario for cancer care has changed and made cancer truly a chronic disease. Patient specific, and another important thing is data driven. Unless you have data, you should not be treating patients. Whether you are an oncologist, whether you are a hospital, you have to know your own data. What is my 5-year survival rate of breast cancer? What is this institution survival? What is the disease free? If I treat a breast, what is the local recurrence? Is it acceptable 4% or is it 10%? Is there something wrong? so critical to know what is happening to those patients. So we have to collect data. In the past, we had difficulties, yes, but now with the technology and other means, we are able to accurately collect the data, and I will show our data in one of the last slides, how we have managed it. So I don't know how we are with the time. I just want to make sure we are not, a few more slides I would like to show. Okay. So the data becomes very important. Multidisciplinary approach, which I said, genomic specific, then organ specific, disease specific, and proper diagnosis. Same thing in a way, less chemotherapy, more targeted. Measure the quality of life and outcome, like I showed about the pain management. If you properly manage, even the patient is not how long they live, it is quality of life they live, which becomes more important as we go forward. Data-driven, multidisciplinary. And a collaborative approach between the researchers and the clinicians. In our clinic, we have a person who is double PhD, Dr. Mithuva. She is actually active participant in the tumor board because she is telling the oncologist what should be the pathway decided treatment using bioinformatics. So this is something very important for us, that the multidisciplinary researchers, scientists have to join, and pathologists, radiologists have to join in decision making. Concept of radionomics. We know today, just seeing a CT scan or a PET scan, using a mathematical calculation, I can say, is this disease very aggressive? Can I treat this different from another PET scan? So we have advanced to that level, and it is possible to transmit that level of knowledge to the patient, proper treatment to the patient. So research, as I said, imaging, AI, artificial. So we are putting a risk back in HCG. Hopefully we'll incorporate Nairobi Center also, where with this, it's an artificial intelligence based, where it will actually spit out radiology reports. Somebody may say we don't need radiologists, we still need, but it will spit out. So once you get the report, the radiologist can look at it and see, because it's based on 10,000 or so cases. Now, one of the good things is it is a research platform. That means the future we collect, let us say we are doing it in Nairobi, the future patients, 10,001, 10,002, will be collected as a new research entity. So we can change the algorithms, we can change the future treatment based on what we collect from our own genomics. Because one of the things, important things to remember, all our treatments are based on Caucasian model. All the clinical NCA and protocols are all mostly Caucasian. We find that in Indians particularly, and even some of the people from this part of the world where we are done in India, there is significant genomic mutations which are not seen in others. So why is it? Don't they require possibly a different treatment? What can we do for them? Nobody has addressed this issue. It is high time we do it for our own people's sake, for our own patients' sake. We have to do it. So, academics, I said pathology. We have a digital pathology system where we can cross-check the pathology online live before we give the patient. Doctor sitting in Nairobi, doctor in Bangalore can compare the slide using a screen where together they can see and analyze and give a diagnosis. Isn't that fantastic? So you get opinion together based on organ specific. So accuracy will be there. Data, clinical trials are very important. We all know investigator-initiated trials, domain knowledge, and this will lead to the better outcome and measure the outcome. So this is the focus on expertise and excellence in oncology. I already discussed some of the driving outcomes, how you properly treat. We talk about radiation giving for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Today we are happy to say significant number of patients we can give 3 fractions, 5 or 10 fractions. It's called hypofractionation, radiosurgery. This new machine, it is possible to give. We can give radiosurgery. Even recurrent tumors can be treated because it is so specific to the tumor and doesn't treat the normal cells. So this is an amazing future for cancer patients with no side effects, even recurrent tumors. This is the Harvard study which I mentioned, showing that in breast cancer in 2013, we have improved from them, I'll show you later, where at a 1/7 the cost, we were able to get the same outcome as one of the best centers in US. So clearly showing we can be outcome driven at much lower cost and obviously much stress to the patient. So this is the hub and spoke model, access driving volume, how we use hub and spoke model, center being in Bangalore, multiple hubs are there and spokes are there. Using this, we have developed this model, and our goal is to create same quality of care across as much as Bangalore. Fortunately or unfortunately, Bangalore has 70 oncologists. It is very difficult to replicate 70 oncologists in many centers. It has taken me nearly 2 decades of work to put this in Bangalore. But we want to leverage that, and using, for example, advanced technology like mixed reality now. We had a surgery in one of the spokes recently where you working with Microsoft, the head and neck surgeon from Bangalore, sitting in Bangalore, assisted the surgeon in a distant town, Ranchi, by his avatar going there. He was not there, his avatar was there, he practically assisted. So these are some of the future where a patient getting a surgery in Nairobi, certain things where the tumor is very close to carotid, when it requires vascular surgeon, we can beam in the vascular surgeon and let him do the assist in surgery without actually physically the surgeon coming. It is not future, it is done today. It is the word meta, as you all heard, and it is being done actually. And I couldn't bring that video, but there is, recently we released a video showing how we did it in Bangalore to Mysore. And this again, so digitization, we have talked about how telemedicine, we've been talking about all this. And we have one of the big things about HCG is the patient getting treatment here through cloud technology is actually monitored in Bangalore in terms of telephysics. We work with physics here, like Peter is there. We work with him to make sure there is good coverage, what does a doctor want, are we treating the tumor only, is there any normal tissue, so the side effects could be minimal and accurate diagnosis and therapy. It has to be extremely precise for you to get the best results, and you can deliver obviously higher dose. So centralized physics, centralized radiology reporting and digital pathology are the core for proper diagnosis and treatment. As I said, right treatment the first time, virtual tumor boards, all of this, and we also do what we call a liquid biopsy now, and it is called circulating tumor cells. All of this helps us to measure at a microscopic level, is this tumor responded to the treatment or not? Say a metastatic cancer. When should we stop the treatment? When there are no circulating tumor cells. How do we know? We have to measure them. Then only you can stop the treatment, not before. So these are some of the advances in genomics, as I said, mutations, and what is actionable mutation, what is not. Can we collect more mutations as we know in future? What becomes not actionable becomes actionable in future. This is how the advances in precision oncology has happened. Digital PET, CyberKnife, Versat HD as you see here, and robotic surgery, all of this, and bone sparing surgeries where we don't do amputations anymore. We don't do laryngectomies anymore. We don't do mastectomies anymore. We don't do colostomies anymore. Gone are the days. Imagine a patient going to a theater with colostomy. They can't go. No more we need to. Sphincter sparing surgeries, voice sparing procedures. So no laryngectomy, no artificial voice, no breast removal. Great advances have happened in organ saving, and this is the future where quality of life can be given for patients. We did a survey on about 380 women in India who had mastectomy, and we asked them what was the repercussions. 75% said they had issues with their spouses because of the mastectomy. They had issues in interacting with their spouses. So nobody has published this data in emerging market. But the people continue to do mastectomies. So we feel we audit. If the doctor does mastectomy, we want to know why he or she did it. Has to explain. There may be multicentric origin, there are reasons, but good reasons have to be given. So doctor engagement, how do we make doctors partners? How do we engage them so they are empowered is one of the hallmark of HCG. Only less than 5% is attrition of doctors in HCG. So as I said, future is there. I'll just run through this case just to show you few cases. She's a 63-year-old patient who came to me 7.5 years ago. She's a big sociologist, chairwoman of Indian Sociology Society. And I had treated her 2 nieces. She said, "Doctor, I have an issue. I've been told I have liver full of cancer from breast cancer. And I want to continue to do all my work. So whatever it is, you take care of me." She did whatever I told her. She traveled, but for 7.5 years, her liver is completely normal. I gave her chemotherapy, T-cell therapy, metronomic therapy. And I learned a lot from this. But unfortunately, I could not get tissue because the tissue was very small. I couldn't do genomic study to know why she has survived. So important thing is why somebody has not survived. Equally important, why somebody has survived. She is one of the longest survivors with breast cancer. But why has she really survived? So it is a T-cell therapy. Was there something in genomics? We will not know the answer. Again, as I said, cancer is an enigma. We don't know what happens when. Again, this is just to show how the scan became normal as we went through. Today, I'm happy to say last month, she had the scan showing that it's normal. This is a patient with triple negative breast cancer. They have very bad prognosis, quite into the lymph nodes. All I can say is, when we did a deep dive, based on the genomics, I'll just do the outline of this. Certain things, BRCA being positive on the tissue, it is not germline, but somatic was positive. With that, we decided to give her immunotherapy. Within 2 courses, along with chemo, she went into complete remission. And she is doing very good post 6 months. And we have to now take a decision, what can we do next time? Because they're not supposed to have this complete remission so quickly. So she has had this, and these are all the areas where we are about to publish. So this is a 25-year-old lady with extensive disease from colon into the liver. And here the patient came, essentially saying the liver failure. And she was told outside, like I mentioned, somebody had told some other patient, but similar to this, that is your hopeless condition. So they said only HCG can do something, maybe go. So we took her as a challenge, treated her with various understanding the genomics, everything. And today she's still on treatment, but today I'm happy to say this is how we managed her, PDL1, various things, complete 500 gene panel. How complicated it is, as you see here. We have to do all this before we embark on what should be the right treatment for the patient. As you can see, liver has turned normal, and today, she is doing extremely good with no evidence of disease. And again, this is the PET scan, and these are all the genomics on that patient. And you can see here, there are certain things which tell you how to treat. Mutation in APC, associated with poor prognosis. Very important to remember. We use commonly a drug called 5-FU. But if you use it when they have a mutation in APC, it may not work unnecessarily. Genomic. So we didn't give that drug for her. We gave some other drug, and that is possibly why she got a response to the therapy, a dramatic response. So germline somatic data, we have HCG data. By the way, one of the things I do is, I always tell my team, youngsters, doctors, whatever data you do, please, our own data, publish. We don't want to look at the Western data. And rarely we invite any Western people to come and give lectures, because we want to be our own masters in the end. And that is what I would suggest we do here in Nairobi also. We're willing to cooperate. You have to become your own masters eventually to win the war on cancer. Otherwise, it will be very difficult knowing somebody else had done a program somewhere. Does it go for good? And people talk about cost, other issues. To learn cancer, we have to take a deep dive. Unless we take a deep dive, I don't think we will understand this peculiar disease. So again, this is all just to show there are so many things, even in the blood, we can do markers. Based on that, we can decide cfDNA and all that. And when you have a liver disease, how can you treat the disease to the liver? These are all the possibilities. And I will not go into some of this, but this is the TSO 500. But let me just go to some of the interesting things before I close my talk. This is for FAPI treatment, which we are doing, one of the 2 centers in the world doing. For advanced cases, by doing this molecular imaging type of a treatment, we are able to get phenomenal response based on fibroblasts of the cell. It is very much in the beginning, but we have done several hundred cases. Some of the prominent people from East Africa, Uganda have come and taken treatment with very good response. So we are looking at this, making it more of an included in the protocol as we do more data collection and protocol it, so that this could become part of our treatment as we move forward. And this is showing how you can get a phenomenal response in advanced cases where nothing has been done, nothing can be done, they are told. They are out of all the drugs, and this is the actinium is the drug we use, and this is raw material comes from Heidelberg, and we make the material. So the next $1 billion is, we call this theranostics. That is the word we use for this kind of treatment, and we believe it is going to be the future also. This is a patient, mother of a famous neurosurgeon in Bangalore, and nothing could be done. She did very good for 4 years. She lived with this kind of approach, showing again. And again, I'm just, we talk about radiotherapy. As you know, in the past in radiation, today you heard Habib talk about Elekta. We used to require a lot of margins for treatment. Today, less margin is better. So that is the precision. So the plan, what we do today compared to the past. So in cancer, the focus should be on molecular imaging, digital pathology, right surgery, genomics, multimodality treatment, and radiation, understanding who should get what radiation is called radiation sensitivity index. We are doing big research on that. Why should everybody get 5,000 in 5 weeks? Why should everybody get 5,000, 6,000? Why not some people get 3,000, some may get 7? So what is the genomic story behind that is what we are going into, and decision making. So immunology is one where we have got very big, and I'll just skip to immunology. The clinical challenges, I already talked about it. So, and one of the things I want to say is 40 to 45% of the cancer patient population, particular drug therapy is ineffective. So it is nearly 45% of the patients we are giving it unnecessarily. That is an important matter to understand. So when we become genomic specific, hopefully that percentage will come down to less than 10%. So 42% of all drug develops a personalized medicine today. 73% of oncology drugs in the development of personalized medicine. Today, that is why we say protocols will be more of a personalized medicine. And when you look at HCG data, we found 36% of the time we found actionable genes, and 28% of the time it was prognostic. So better than 55% to 60 made a change in how we approach this patient when we do TSO 500 genomics. And that is what we want to introduce here very soon. I'm working on that. Liquid biopsy. Now, one of the things about, I will conclude my talk with immunotherapy, which has become very big. For all of you who may know what is immunotherapy, it's very simple. Cancer cells have checkpoints. And checkpoints are like a Star Wars shield, as you might have seen Star Wars. So unless you break the shield, you can't kill the cancer cells. So what we do is, when you give immunotherapy, they are called checkpoint inhibitors. They go in and kill those shields. They break the shields. Because they break the shield, these cells become susceptible for the normal body T cells, as well as maybe the chemotherapy or target therapy go and kill. So it is a simple explanation, but that is the reality. We need to take care of these shields, then only. That is why normally a lot of us may actually have some cancer cells. Why don't we get cancer? Because the shields are broken by the T cells themselves. But unfortunately, T cells get exhausted. They're unable to break the shields as the cancer cells grow. But that is where immunotherapy helps to break it. And we have done one thing is like the lady with 7.5 years survival you saw. Before immunotherapy, we gave her T cell stimulus, massive doses of T cells, so that we pumped up the soldiers so they can go and fight. So that itself appeared to have worked in her. Even now, she comes and takes treatment every 6 months. T cell infusion to make it happen. So this is something we can even do here as we move forward. And we have a iCrest which produces T cells, part of HCG group, and by which we can develop T cell dendritic cells. These are all the future when the cancer load is minimal. That is when it works the best. So I will, I know, needless to say how EMR, molecular diagnostics, everything is going to be part of artificial intelligence. As we move forward, AI is going to play an important role in how we are going to treat our approach. HCG's approach is virtual tumor boards, precision medicine, liquid biopsy, CTCs, molecular imaging, personal treatment, and understanding when the disease comes back, why. One of the things we tell our doctors, colleagues is, please don't go to second line of treatment unless you understand why the disease came back. That is the critical. Why did this disease come back? Only then I think we are authorized to treat the patient. As you understand, all the time it may not be outcome focused. It should be focused on outcome, not just treating. What is the outcome of these patients? So we do complexity of the cancer, database, clinical trials, research in diversity population, Indian, African, US, Caucasian. We have to do this validation and adoption of new technologies. What is going to make it? I just talked about mixed reality. This is a showing in our own center how we do mixed reality and understand this so that a 3D figure can be done and treated properly. With this, this is the last slide to show outcome. This is done by an independent body on breast cancer, comparing ours to published data from MD Anderson, triple negative as well as other cancer, and 729 triple negative in 2.5 years, 3 years, 2,451 regular positive, triple positive or two positive cancers, compared to TNBC of MD Anderson 255 and non-TNBC 863. As you can see in the bottom, if you can, it is small letters, 68% 5-year disease-free survival in HCG TNBC and 83% for non-TNBC. MD Anderson 64% and 81%. Statistically, I could say probably same. So clearly showing in HCG we are meeting the global standards. Problem with our countries in emerging market, we are damn good doctors. We get good results, but we don't collect the data and publish it the proper way. That is where the West has won over us. If only we collect data. Indian doctors from, I know doctors from this part of the East Africa in US, when I practiced 28 years, very good oncologists, very good doctors, but doctors here are not collecting the data and show. Indian doctors treating in US, their outcome they showed in Harvard study better than local doctors treating. So we are damn good. I always say, I know this is not India, but I have to say, when Indians can run MasterCard, Google, Microsoft, IBM, Twitter, so many companies to Adobe, and same thing, I know a lot of people from this part of the world who run big companies there. Why not we do it in our own country and bring it on par or even better the West? We can. It is only the question of what you are doing has to be documented, put it forth, analyze it, and show we are equal or better. With these few words, I think I will. This is a book I have written called Excellence Has No Borders. It's my own journey, which got an award in the book festival. And it is just showing that whether it is rich or poor, whatever it is, excellence has no borders. Doesn't matter. If you can do excellent work, you can do anywhere. What HCG has shown is we can take cobalt, we can take high-end therapy to remote parts of India and still succeed and make it viable without any government grants or any land. This is what we have shown. People thought it is impossible. We say what is impossible is possible. And that is what it is about a cancer patient also. If you think we cannot manage an advanced disease, we can manage. Of course, patients die for a lot of diseases. Patients can die of cancer. Nobody is immortal, but we can give them good quality of life as a chronic disease if properly managed. With these few words, I'd like to end my talk, and thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ajay Kumar, for this. And we really wish you could have talked a little more. It was so interesting. I think we all need to give him a big hand. Now I would like to call Dr. Anu Adamali. Anu Adamali has been very instrumental in Kenya to develop the healthcare network. And he has many firsts, the first CT, the first X-ray, the first MRI, and the first comprehensive cancer center of the East African zone. I request Dr. Adamali to say a few words and a vote of thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for those kind words. Dr. Ajay, last night, whole night he was traveling. He arrived in Nairobi at 6 a.m. in the morning, and at 8:30 he had a meeting. Then at 10 o'clock sharp he was at the cancer care where Mercy Mungangi was coming to perform the opening ceremony, and then met up with the manufacturers of the equipment, and we did a lot of activities this morning, and then in the afternoon, again, we went through all the meetings with the staff of cancer care and some interviews for additional staff. And yet, he has been able to talk here for such a long time. He's an amazing man. I think he's really, truly iconic oncologist in India, and we are so proud to be associated with him. We set up the cancer care in Nairobi about 12 years ago, and at that time there were only 4 oncologists, radiation oncologists in Kenya, in Nairobi, and they were all working for the Kenyatta National Hospital. There was a Kenyan oncologist that was to work with us when we set up but just 3 months prior to us starting, he got in touch with me and told me that his wife is insisting that he continue staying in South Africa, where he was working, because the 2 children that he had were in very good schools in South Africa. So the wife was insisting he doesn't come. So we were at a loss. We started this 2 clinics, spent a lot of money on that, and we could not get a full-time oncologist. Finally, these 4 oncologists who were working at the Kenyatta National Hospital, they did offer their services, but they had commitment there as well. And it was very difficult. So we had a difficult start, and but it was a start. And once we set up a dedicated cancer center at the MP Shah Hospital, obviously the Aga Khan Hospital had to have one, and Nairobi Hospital had to have one. So within a matter of 4 years, there were 6 clinics in Nairobi. And I'm also pleased to say that in this last 10 years or so, from the 4 radiation oncologists, now we have got about 35 radiation oncologists in Kenya. So we are moving in the right direction. But listening to what Ajay has been talking about, he's truly iconic. It will be very difficult for us to catch up, but we need your help as you've been helping her. And we look forward to improving our patient care in cancer management in this country as well. And with this new introduction of the Elekta machine, Linac machine, I think we will need some additional help from you on a continuous basis so that we are at scratch in managing cancer patients. And we look forward to a very healthy relationship with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Adamali, for those kind words for HCG. We look forward to HCG helping us to grow the field of oncology in the East Africa zone and be leaders in the field and be one of the best centers. And I thank all ladies, gentlemen, clinicians who are here for being patient and listening to us. Really appreciated. And I think all of you deserve a big round of applause. And the dinner is ready. Everyone can move out and serve dinner. And then we can interact with each other. Dr. Ajay, Mr. Habib, and Dr. Adam Ali are around. If you have any questions, you can interact with them on a one-on-one and ask your questions. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.